big up everyone on YouTube land. Chelsea versus Spurs at Stamford Bridge. Only one other Spurs fan to talk to at a time like this. Deji Spurs, let's roll. Well, a bit of an early one for me, but I've got a guest with me that needs no introduction. He's infamous among Arsenal fans and a good laugh amongst everybody else, I suppose. It is Deji Spurs, the man's in the building. What are you saying, brother?
Yes, Wolfgang, my bro. Yeah, man. I'm good, man. Obviously, it was a disaster on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Bare people coming for man. But the truth is, if people listen to what I say, what I am saying makes a whole load of sense. And when your manager just kind of does a U-turn, what can I do? Do you get what I'm saying? But I legitimately think, you know, my predictions would have been achieved had certain things internally at Spurs. It's almost like these men are trying to go against me. But apart from that, bro, I'm good. Looking forward to playing you, man, to be honest with you. I have to
say, are you, yeah? You looking forward to playing us, huh?
I think I am, bro, because I'm not going to lie. I think there are 3 teams this season that I would say are pretty dusty.
And you're going to say, we're one of them.
West Ham is dusty, bro. I mean, come on. I mean, crikey. West Ham is dusty. Manchester United is even dustier. And I have to say, even dustier than United is you guys. You, man, have been pathetic this season.
In the league, yeah, it's true.
In the league, you have. And I think it's been very difficult for me, apart from you, to engage with any Chelsea fan because what can they tell me? And you would notice I haven't spoken to any Chelsea fan. There's one on Never a Foul called Jay, and I just park him to the side because what can you tell me? And the only thing is, knowing you, man will probably have your best performance tomorrow against Spurs.
Yeah, probably.
But you guys are happy to pull down your pants, bend over and say, spank me, daddy, spank me, little to
Here we go. Here we go.
When you, man, play Arsenal.
Here we go.
That's what you, man, do. So I'm good. I'm just hoping that my club does what it needs to do against you, man.
Wait, what was the score against Arsenal in the first half of that game at the weekend?
Bro, you know what? One thing that I've... Let me say something. Let me say this. What Arsenal fans have been shaking their bum about, and I don't know why they're shaking their bum, and I'm coming at them today, and I'm gonna be finishing bare them from tonight onwards, is they keep talking about the first half up until the 3 goals. Shut your mouth. Talk about the whole game. Talk about overall, because overall, when you watch the game, Tottenham should have beaten that Arsenal team. So you telling me what was the first half like? How about you assess the game, my brother? Assess the game, and you know Wild won, which is that my club deserves something out of that game. So yeah, we were 3-0 down. We gifted them the first goal, and then yeah, it was a bit of a disaster, but we move.
Well, on that, right? Because I'm not being funny, we were bantering each other quite hardcore the last time we saw each other, and to be honest, okay, you said you couldn't communicate with Chelsea fans. I'm gonna take the tribalism out of this for a second, and I'm gonna level with you, right? It's not really gone well for either of us, right? In terms of you guys, your European like top 4 push kind of halted a bit. You had injuries, with Madison's, the suspensions, but I want to ask you now that people like Van der Ven have come back, Madison's come back. There's obviously a lot of people have been talking shit about Madison recently. You know what I mean? Like, he's not been the same since he's been injured. Like, give me your take, because I'm not looking to start any fights with you. I want to talk with you. Like, you're a clever lad. You're not silly. So let's have a conversation, because I know, like you said, you argue with a lot of people. So when you're chilling with Wolfie, let it be a convo.
No, legitimately, and that's why I'm here, Wolfie. Is I want to have a convo, and I feel like people hear the gunslaying but don't really listen to the details. So let's get into the detail today, and big up Kenny Fan TV, big up Stephanie, all these peeps that are in the building. Make sure you smash a like on my brothers, like and subscribe on my bros page. You know what I mean? That's a pleasure.
And Deji's as well. And
so the thing is, there's a lot of things going on. First and foremost, I think Madison obviously had a major injury, bro. It was after the playing Newman, and he was out for about 10, 11 Premier League games. Premier League being the toughest league in the world, very physical league, it can take some players time to kind of get up to speed. One of the things that I think has happened is because he started the show so well, or his life at Spurs so well, he's kind of become like a captain figure. I almost feel like when he stepped up, he kind of stepped into Kane's shoes. And and he stepped into Kane's shoes when it wasn't his shoes to fill, if that makes sense.
I thought Son more filled that role more than
No. Son is Son. Son is Son. He didn't step into Kane's shoes. If you remember, when Maddison came in, I think I remember saying, maybe it was even with Tony, that almost felt like he's a direct replacement to Kane in the sense of the amount of assists that he was creating and the goals he was creating. He made us forget about Kane. And I think the way that the passion he was showing for the club, he done that. But also at that stage in time as well, he was playing with Son on the left, Kulusevski on the right, and Richarlison up front. And the person who wasn't clicking at that stage in the season was Richarlison. Richarlison was suffering, he was stuttering, and that's why we had to move Son down the line on the left hand, into the number 9 position. Since then, what's happened is we brought in Brennan Johnson, brought in Timo Werner. And I just think that the quality of player that we're playing on the wing is just not good enough. And so James Maddison's having to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. He can't really release the ball into the channels because he doesn't trust what Werner's going to do. For example, you need a 1v1. I would love a Madueke from your team, who's going to run at us in the channels. I think Raheem Sterling would work better at Spurs than Timo Werner, obviously. If we had Raheem Sterling, he'd be licking his lips, mate.
Well, the thing is, with Sterling, because you just mentioned Timo Werner, I found that a very strange signing from Postecoglou because I don't know what he saw in Timo Werner. He's got pace, but like you started to see, he can't finish even when you give him an easy chance. He can't.
I don't mind that he can't finish. What I want is with his pace, just whip the ball across the box. I actually don't mind him not being able to finish. But the biggest issue I have with Timo Werner is not his positional play. It's the fact that he is just scared of a challenge. I've never seen anything quite like it. As soon as the ball comes out to the left, if you come near him, it's like, oh no, someone's coming. Quick, get rid of the ball. Get rid of it now, quickly, before they touch me. That's the problem. Because in the Prem, you got to be able to ride challenges. And so what you find with him is where he could take the ball a little bit further, whip a ball in or whip a shot or cause chaos, he tends to lose the ball 9.5 out of 10 times on that left-hand side. So for me, it's like, what's the point? I mean, I can do the same job as Timo Werner for a £5, and I don't even know how much we're paying him per week. So that's the problem. So, and I think Maddison doesn't trust the wingers. In my Son should not be playing number 9. He should be out on the left. And I think Kulusevski out on the right. And then Brennan Johnson kind of being our impact winger. A bit like how Arsenal used Trossard. If we see this change, you will see Maddison come back to life. But he's having to feed Son. Son, who's playing up top. I knew playing Son number 9 against Saliba and Gabriel is a waste of time. If we play Son as the number 9 against you, guess what? It is a waste of time. We need to be hurting you on the wings. So I think that's the main issue with Maddison. He's not clicked with the wingers. And so that's had an impact on his game. And then it looks like he's not on form. But really, it's just that the system, how he set the team up personnel-wise, just doesn't click for Madders.
Big up, Scott. On that, right? Because I always remember you say to me, and you say quite regularly, right? Your best 11 is a match. Well, your starting 11 is a match for any in the Premier League, right? You still standing by that?
Yeah,
cool. I'm only asking just to get my facts right. I'm not bantering you, but
yeah, no, but you will say, but on the weekend against Arsenal, that wasn't our starting 11. We had Ben Davis, Timo Werner, Højbjerg, and Bentancur. That's not our starting 11. That's not our strongest 11. And in fact, before the game, I was saying on
why did we put Piero at right back as well? Wasn't he not playing? Was it Piero?
Poro played. But I was saying though that I would prefer Emerson Royale at left back for that game because of the pace of Saka. I mean, these are just basic things, and all of the things that we Tottenham fans saw on the weekend, we bloody called it before the game. I think that is the maddest thing for me. So, yeah, I'm hoping that he starts our strongest lineup. I think Basuma has to start with.
All right, well, you'll tell me, what is your Spurs strongest lineup? Tell me, like, go through your whole 11.
Big up Emi Baba, big up Scott. Tottenham's strongest 11 is Richarlison in the number 9, Son on the left, Kulusevski on the right, Madders, Pape.
Kulusevski, why would you stick with him? Because he's dipped off a lot.
He has dipped off, but in terms of he's a physical presence,
I do like him myself.
And also he's a workhorse. So even if he attacking wise, he's not maybe getting enough assists or getting enough goals, he is a nuisance. Do you know what I mean? And he's a physical presence that can ruffle up defenders. You know, in the Prem, you need a little bit of brute force and you need a little bit of
bastardry. It's what we used to call it. Bastard.
Yeah. And I think he brings an element of that, and that's why I would always opt for Cooley. And I think Brennan Johnson, I don't know, it's very strange, but he tends to run down the wing and then he's blowing. So he's got clearly there's a fitness issue there with Brennan. So Brennan, I think, more of an impact player when defenses, you know, the left backs, the centre backs are starting to tire out, bring on those fresh legs with his speed will cause he's more of a menace that way. And then I would go with Pape Sarr, Basuma, because again, I was thinking about Partey. You know, the physical presence. Højbjerg is not going to be able to push Partey over, but I do think Basuma can pick Partey up with one arm. Okay, jokes aside, I think that would have been an interesting tussle.
It's funny you mentioned Sarr because he changed the game against Arsenal at the weekend.
Well, we don't know why he didn't bloody start because he's the only player in the midfield that's actually got legs. So he's our answer to Stephen Rice. Do you get what I'm saying? So he didn't start. We're like scratching our head. How comes he's not on the pitch? And then for me, obviously, you know, your doggy left back, Van der Ven, Romero, Pedro.
What's happened to Van der Ven, bro? Because that guy's been getting exposed. Is it just Angie's tactics? Or what? No, that guy's been put on his bum so much. I'm not taking the mickey when I say that, but more recently over the last couple of weeks. Yeah,
so look, the issue is
getting exposed, man.
The issue is that the Postecoglou system is it's a high risk, high reward system. Yeah. So even in games where Tottenham won, you will see that either Van der Ven or your doggy have come from nowhere to do a little last-ditch tackle because Poro's so high, Romero's so high. And because we play that high line, it requires you to be on 100%. If you're 100%, you don't notice. It's just for you, Van der Ven's got back, he's cleared the ball. But most of the time, Van der Ven's got back and is clearing the ball for a player that your doggy should have been marking, a player Romero should have been marking, and often he's covering players that Poro should have been marking and clearing the ball. So if he is out of place or has a wobble, because all he's had was a wobble against Newcastle, it looks like he's been exposed, but he hasn't. He's been on job. Do you know what I mean? But
he's come back though as well, isn't he? So
yeah, and he's just come back again from a long-term injury. He was fully injured. But it's a high-risk, high-reward game of football. It's better to have loved than lost than to never loved at all, and I love it. But it means that when it's good, it's bloody good, like it was the first 10 games.
When it's bad, it's bloody
bad, like we've seen in recent games.
Right, again, just a quick shout-out to Deji. Anyone who hasn't, please, if you can, and you're a Chelsea lot, and you like a good giggle with a nice dude, please, his links for his channels there. Drop the guy a like and a subscribe.
Big up.
Obviously, because he's a good guy, man. A lot of people banter this guy, but I like having conversations with him because when you let the guy spit facts, he can spit facts. So I got a lot of time for Deji.
Big up, G.
So on to Ange.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about the players a little bit, and I'll ask you about Chelsea again in a second. But on to Ange. How are you feeling about him now?
Bro, the truth of the matter is, you know, I feel like
that honeymoon period's kind of gone now, isn't it?
No, I don't think the honeymoon period is gone. I think what we're getting is the kind of media narrative. And what you find is once people, even streamers, once they hear something on Sky Sports or ESPN, they run with the same shit instead of just coming up with your own, using your own mind and just analysing the thing from your own perspective. Let me just quickly give you the perspective that everyone needs to remember, and I tell you what I think Postecoglou is trying to do. At the beginning of the season, Wolfie, me and you, we had a conversation. I said to you, even if my man finished 8th, but we played better football, I would take that as a better season.
Yeah, you did say
nobody was expecting Tottenham to be in the top 4 or top 5, maybe at best top 6, because Postecoglou, for most Tottenham fans, I don't give a damn, because a lot of people were like, yeah, we've seen Ange, we know about his football. Shut up. You never. You didn't watch him at Scotland. You didn't watch him in Australia. You didn't watch him in Japan.
Neither did Deji.
Do you know what I mean? And neither did I. I only got involved. No, but I only got involved when I heard about him. And then even when I heard about him, I wasn't holding my breath. I wasn't sure because I didn't know. And I'm not going to watch those leagues. And I don't know how his football is going to translate to the Prem. We had the remarkable 10 games, top of the league. But more importantly than being top of the league, we were playing better football. Where we were the team, even against Bournemouth, with 27% possession, here we are, where just like the weekend against Arsenal, we've got 62% possession. I'd rather have possession football than the dusty football that we were playing under Mourinho and Conte. And we can talk about whether it gets you trophies and all that later on. Yeah.
No, hang on. But on that is I know you said there's a better brand of football, but maybe one thing I will say, because you mentioned Jose and Conte tactically, I will say them two were probably a step ahead of Ange. I hear what you're saying about the high octane football, but they could manage situations better.
I think they could, but there's a reason to this, and I'm going to get to it now. I'm not sure that they can manage situations better. I think for me, what it was with Conte and Mourinho, they had a style of play which was to just drown you out and hit people on a counter attack. In essence, it was very, very basic. It's something that I can do and train in the training ground. You could probably do it, Wolfie. There's no real tactical awareness to this. It's stink out the place, hit someone on the counter and get a goal. And, you're relying on your Drogbas and your Kanes of this world, who were exceptional strikers, to get you out of a hole. That's it. But real managers, real footballers, you have to create a system where you're drawing players out, you're moving the jigsaw puzzles.
You make space.
Yeah. So I think what Postecoglou is trying to do, and where the Spurs fans are frustrated, is that we're looking at games against Newcastle, we're looking at games against Arsenal, we're looking at games against West Ham, and we're saying, well, all he has to do is drop the team slightly deeper. Or when we played you guys and we went with 9 men, just drop a little bit deeper. Maybe we get a result. Maybe
Arsenal as well.
Last on the weekend, maybe we don't get spanked. Maybe if he just does this, maybe if he just does that. And they do have a point. I am wondering, why isn't he doing that? But I think Postecoglou is doing what Arteta did in his first 3 seasons. He's doing what Pep and Klopp did in their first 3 seasons. His pure focus for this season is to get his brand of football. He needs to get that football in the DNA of the players. This is how we move. This is how we move. When you're here, this is what you go. When we're there, then this is what you do. This. And it needs to become second nature, that they can play the Postecoglou way with their eyes closed. And he's talked about the fact that one of the issues he's had so far this season is that the players just haven't caught on to how he wants them to attack the box. They don't. And so when people are saying we look lost in the final third, the brother's been saying that from day. They are lost because they still ain't clocked it yet. Mm-hmm. Now, Arteta, what I think is going to happen, just a little bit like Arteta focused on the system. Once you've got the system, it's easy to tweak and then adapt in games. But if you don't get the system right first, then you can't quickly get to your style of play where you want to be dominating, and then it takes longer to get to where you need to be. Hence, it took Arteta 3 seasons to embed his style of play into Arsenal.
Whoa.
And then from last season is when he started adapting slightly certain games. And then this season, we've really seen him adapt, where he went to the Etihad and sat back. And when they went to Spurs on the weekend and sat back. But Postecoglou can't do that until his system's fully ingrained in the team.
I get what you're saying. And on his system, because I know it's because basically he can't. I know okay, hopefully that you would agree with it. I think the closest brand of football in the Premier League to Postecoglou's is kind of like Klopp's, where it works on based on high pressure on the opposition.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I will say, like, and I'm not being funny, I hear what Deji's saying in terms of what he was saying earlier about the Arsenal game. On another day, Romero scores that header. They don't hit the post twice. You know, it could...
easy, bro.
It's true. On another day, it could have been like 6-4 to
we had an offside goal that, depending on how you look at it, depending if you got goggles on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the whole offside thing with VAR, just don't get me started. Did you see that shit the other day when we were playing against City, bro? And he blatantly handballs it and he pulls his hand out. We didn't even get a corner.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are the crap that we got to be dealing with on a daily basis.
I know, man.
That's why I was saying on the weekend, because there was a lot of Arsenal fans shaking their bum violently. And I'm like, calm down.
He finally said it. Here we go. We got 20 minutes in. Now the bum shaking starts.
Do you know what I'm saying? They were shaking their bums, but really and truly, they had nothing to shake their bum about. What you did is you got the 3 points.
Yeah, I hear you. It's one of those ones where they did. In the end, they were hanging on. Because I was doing a watch along with our mutual friend Tony C, and he was bricking it because he thought you guys were going to equalize. So, and I'm not being funny, right? Were you guys denied another penalty in that?
Of course we was, bro. But that penalty on Kulusevski is a stonewall penalty, and for me, and it's like, there's no point apologizing after the game. You know, we're getting an apology from the ref that should have been a pen and all of this crap. And it's like, well, it's done now. We ain't going to get the points back. We're not going to replay. So, you know, what's the point? And so I think that's the disappointing thing when you get mistakes like that in such a high-pressured game. You want it to be ref right. You don't want there to be any refereeing decisions, but I guess that's the nature of football. You know, you win them. You win. Maybe another day we go to the Emirates and we get the rubber, the green, and we're winning. And I'm shaking my bum. But until then, I am a little bit more grieved this weekend because Arsenal really didn't deserve to win that game. In all honesty, and I think they know it.
Oh, I don't know about they didn't deserve to win it because obviously their first half performance was obviously better than yours. Because that was the funny thing about that game. And didn't.
Well, in the first half, we hit the post and we scored an offside goal.
I know that, but you were still very vulnerable at the back. That's the thing, because Arsenal had chances as well. You guys didn't adapt to Arsenal in the first half, but then in the second half, Arsenal didn't adapt to what you guys did back to them. It was kind of, but it was a bit weird because like both teams in a way, and I must admit, you guys were unlucky not to score more than twice. And I watched the whole game. You were unlucky. But it's one of those ones. Hang on, as an Arsenal fan, what can I care about this stage of the season? It's 3 points. Yes, that's true. But the thing is, Deji's looking at it from a different. You're looking at the instant need, Emmy, where Deji's thinking more. You know what? By this time next season, we're going to be like champions. Almost sounds like Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses. This time next season, we'll be millionaires.
Yeah. But to be fair though, Wolfie, Postecoglou has said that. Two weeks ago, he's come out to say that he expects us to be in a title race, and I have no doubt we will be. If my manager can say that, then I have every belief that we will. Because to get 62, I mean, the other thing that I find pretty disingenuous from Arsenal fans and any other rival fans is they're trying to downplay the possession. Arsenal normally outpossess any team they play. Even Liverpool couldn't match them for ball possession the other day. And we've had 62% possession against probably one of the best, if not the best footballing team in the Prem so far this season. Bloody hell, put some respect on my club. Put some respect on the fact that we popped them off the park. Whether we actually had enough shots on goal, whether we were threatening is nothing. That's a yardstick of how good you are as a team, and football is possession.
Hang on, Scott Kirk. I do hear you about you said Arsenal sat on the break, but believe me, Arsenal did not allow Spurs to have all those chances they did, like the Romero header. Because hang on, how many times was it twice or 3 times you hit the post?
Bro, I think we hit the post at least twice. We scored, the goal disallowed. The penalty. I mean, come on, man. I'm not won that game 6-3.
They had no. You can't say they won the game 6. I hear what you're saying with the chances on another day. on another day. I hear what you're saying on another because I'm not being we're the kings of another day. Like we should have buried about 5 or 6 goals, but we had games we played well and lost. That's why I care about the 3 point. Nah, Emmy, we appreciate you're trying to chase City or stay ahead of them. You don't care. You just get the points on the board, bro. But the thing is, like, we're the long term guys in the sense of we're not in that sort of situation quite yet.
Yeah.
But you know, well, congrats for losing. Then that's not what he's talking about. You don't start on him. At times Spurs did in the second half. Emmy says, "I hear Deji. Spurs outplayed in the second half. Yes, they were all over you. And let's be real. I'm not going to talk crap about. It's not about talking shit. It's just one of those ones. Trust me. And I'm not lying. By the end of that game, when the whistle blew, Arsenal fans were praying for the whistle.
Exactly. That's the
They
point.
were praying for
That's
it.
the point.
They were praying
So,
for it.
this thing of
You are holding
we
on.
allowed you. You get me? We allowed you.
on.
Then why were you praying then? You know what I'm saying? Why were you praying if you really that much control?
Because the Spurs were in control the second half. You know what? Spurs' second half, right? I tell you what, Spurs' second half against Arsenal on the weekend was similar to when Aston Villa played them in the second half. Was it at the Emirates a couple of weeks ago and they beat them? It was one of those ones where Arsenal, they went back and they just couldn't get their passing together and break out as well as they did before. Yeah. And it was just...
But it's been an issue for Spurs this season where first halves were just rubbish. And we tend to come out and play well in the second half. And I think it was just too little too late. We had let Arsenal do so much damage in the first that we get ourselves a mountain to climb second half. But that has been the story of Tottenham's season, where we're so dusty in the first half. And I think for me, what is even more mad is we had 2 weeks off. So really, and we had 2 weeks off having been slapped up by Newcastle. I would have expected the Spurs to come out the traps, all guns blazing, which we did in like the first 5 minutes. And then we just then we find ourselves 3-0 down. No Spurs fan was surprised that we were losing. I think slightly surprised it was 3-0. But we are notoriously crap in first halves. And I'm just hoping.
Well, on that, right? Why does, like I said about the adaptation thing, because there's been a lot of home games recently where you guys have gone 1-0 down and then come back.
Yeah.
What does Ange Postecoglou have to do in your view to stop that rot, that leak? Because it's cost you. It has cost you. What can you do to adapt it in your view? Like change it up where you guys don't leak? Because you know as well as I do, JG, right? If there's progression, sooner or later you're going to get things like Champions League football, and you're going to have to be more solid defensively. Yeah. Right, we're just talking about the idea that you do progress. You're going to have to be more solid at the back. What do you think Vinicius Junior is going to do against a team like that plays so high, bro? He'll eat you for breakfast.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's weird because people say we haven't adapted, and I think they're right. And Postecoglou hasn't adapted, but actually, I think there is an element of adaptation, and I explain why. It's really weird. I think he sets the team out wrong in the first half. For whatever reason, I think.
Wait. What do you feel is wrong with it?
So against Arsenal, it was the lineup, it was the personnel. Yeah. But I would say in other games, it might be the tactics that we've deployed. So one of the things you notice, he might make a quick sub at half time, and it's that sub that make the Spurs players get it. Or for whatever reason, he's able to see something in the game in that first half. It almost feels like first half is a free hit. Let's work out what they're trying to do. And then at half time, he's understood what they're doing, and then he kind of unpicks it that way. Now, the problem with that is, fine if it's 0-0.
Too much.
You know what I mean? If it's 0-0, then you unpick it. So if against you guys tomorrow, if we can keep it 0-0 at half time, we'll probably go on to win the game. I'll be honest with you. But
I'm joking.
If we are losing 2-3-0 at half time, he will tweak it. There will be an improvement, but it's too far a gap for us to get back. And we suffered the same at Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a little bit of that. He needs time to assess and see. And I think what we need to be doing moving forward to get positive results is we need to be going in at half-time 0-0. If Tottenham can go in at half-time 0-0, we will climb a lot higher. And I think that's not for this season. That's something that we need to focus on for next.
on Scott Kurt's point here, do you think Vicario needs to be more commanding of his box, or do you think it's just better defensive organisation generally?
100% Vicario is a pussy in the box. He is a little pussycat. And, you know, in the Premier League, you can tell though, bro, like the physicality, you know, goalkeepers are tall, strong individuals. They just jump up, grab the ball, and they might elbow you in your chin. Players step away. With Vicario, you can literally put your bum just slightly against him, and he's moved out of position. So there's something about him. So there's something about him going gym. There's something about him being able to command his box, and I think that's something that we need to work on.
He needs the hard food, Deji. You know what I'm talking about. He needs the hard food.
Bro. He needs some green banana, you know, like that, you know.
Yeah, the hard food, right? Some dumplings, some jerk chicken in there. Give me the hard food.
Get him some strength. Man will take him down south, peck him if they want, and you know, and hopefully that will strengthen him up. The other thing is, you know, Postecoglou's come out to say that doesn't really bother him too tough. If it doesn't bother you, then what we've got to do is minimize corners into the box. That's the other thing. It's stupid to be giving away loads of corners, loads of free kicks. We did that against West Ham. We did it against Arsenal on the bloody weekend because we are just asking for trouble. So if you know you're not going to work on the defensive game or Vicario commanding the box, then get the ball. For me, I'll be telling the players, aim for a throw rather than a corner. Do you know what I mean? Just something as simple as that could be the difference between winning and losing.
Well, on this and what you just said, right? Do you think sometimes it's one of those ones where they don't play simply when they should? Because it's here you go. 5 minutes ago, and the players have adapted, until this manager hasn't adapted. Where's the lack of leadership in Spurs on the field? Like, because I like Song, but he's more your baller. Who's the leader on the pitch now? Because you mentioned Kane.
Yeah, I mean, I think Romero has always been the leader, but because of his kind of mentality and antics for getting red cards, no one would really give him the flowers for that. But what I would say is, and what to DJ Crane's point, the point I'm trying to say is that in general, there are adaptation things that we've seen in matches. Things like, you know, maybe that there's a high line, he needs to kind of drop it back a bit. There's an insistence on Postecoglou to play this sexy football. Sometimes you got to do a Moyes or an Arteta. Sometimes you just got to stink out the place and go long, just to get the result. And we don't see that, and that's the adaptation the Spurs fans are asking for. In relation to him making changes at half time, well, there has to have been an adaptation, obviously, because if the team is dog food in the first half, and then there's an improvement in the second half, something's happened. Maybe it's tactical. Maybe it's not always personnel. He's obviously said something that has brought about a change. What we're saying is there's bigger changes on the pitch sometimes that we see as fans. Ben Davies, for example, why is he on the pitch when he's going to be up against Saka? Obvious things that even us fans can see. Why isn't he doing something about it? But for me, you know, a lot of the criticism on the weekend was we kept the ball well, but we had no shots. I don't mind doing an Arsenal, not having the ball and being more threatening on goal. I've never seen Spurs not have the ball, not be threatening. And sometimes, you know, it's easier said than done in the Prem. Sometimes just to get the result done.
Emmy, leave Deji alone. Don't talk pants about him. He's a nice guy. Leave him alone. He's on my channel. Be nice. I like bum too, by the way. A girl's got to have bum, you know. A man needs to command his box. Pause. Okay, how's Ben Davies doing? By the way,
well, he's out for the rest of the season. So I've kind of, I mean, I don't wish bad on any player, but it means he won't be starting against Chelsea tomorrow. And part of me is wishing him a speedy recovery back. But I'm relieved that he's not up against Gusto tomorrow and whoever played and Mendueke, because it would have been a disaster. But yeah, he's out for the season, man. I don't know what's happened, but him and Timo Werner are out. And these are the two players that shouldn't have started against you anyway, in my opinion. And more against Arsenal.
I'm about to say, me, you ain't played us yet. Not recently.
We got you guys too.
Yeah, we do. And on that, right? Who are you most worried? Because you mentioned Gusto there a minute ago. Obviously, if Palmer's fully recovered, because I think he's had another little knock or he's got another little illness, but obviously we've been known as Cole Palmer FC this season, right? Well, there you go. From the outside looking in, tell me what you think of the progression of Chelsea this year and how things have gone for us.
Yeah,
I want to hear your point of view.
yeah. I mean, honestly, there's been no progression. You guys have probably stayed where you are, which has just been flat like
A
it's
bit,
flat.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty dry. Um, I actually find the whole thing mad because the team on paper is a bunch of superstars, but it just doesn't make sense. And also, to be fair, I mean, I rate Palmer, but it is also a bit disgraceful that
Mm.
Chelsea fans are shaking their bum for Palmer in the sense that this guy couldn't get a sniff at Manchester City, and yet at your club, he's become the saviour. And it just shows the
Well, he's
golf.
not a saviour. I don't think he's no
Well,
saviour.
without him, without Cole Palmer's goals this season, they reckon you would just be just above the relegation zone.
Well, that's true. But I could also say without the injuries that we've had this year, we might have been a far superior team because 200 million's worth of talent hasn't even started a game this year for us.
Yeah.
How about that? We've never played our first 11 this year, not once. Not our actually legit first 11. We've never actually played it once. You would have done the strongest teams. We've never played our strongest teams.
Banner aside, that's 200 mil. You still had 800 mil that's been playing. And
no. Look, Fofana's always been out. Chilwell's always mostly been out. Lavia's mostly been out. In Cuckoo, that's another 55, 60 mil. Put it this way, we haven't been out of that billion everyone says we spent. About 400 million of it, we haven't even been able to call upon.
Well, you still have 600 mil, which is most.
True, but yeah, and you know what makes me laugh? Half of that 600 mil went on Cancelo and Enzo.
Yeah, so you've got Madrid that's been playing. I do find it extremely strange that Sterling doesn't start for your team.
Well, the thing is, I think the reason why he doesn't start is because he's selfish, Dej. Because one thing about it is with Sterling, he gets into a lot of good positions, and you know how Son, right? Let me tell you something, because he's probably Son's the best comparison because of the age as well. He's slightly more experienced, been there, done it, all that kind of thing, right? Whereas Son's in a position where he breaks free and there's someone in pips up there with him, he'll look to pass and you guys will score, right? Yeah. With Raheem Sterling, there'll be the whole 11 in front of him. You'll be one guy like Madrid could be like over there, like waving his arm. Like I'm free, man. I can literally see the goal. I could walk it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And Sterling wouldn't pass. He'll try and take the shot.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, for me, I like Sterling. But the problem is, for a guy of your level, supposedly, for a guy that's been there, done that, where's all your game? Like, you know what I mean? I know you can shoot and score goals, but where's the rest of your game?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's frustrating because, like you said a minute ago, or I believe at the beginning of the stream, you can see that there's still a player there, but it just frustrates the crap out of you because it's like, why wouldn't you do the simple things?
Why won't you do it simple? Yeah, I get that, and it is weird.
And you said about Palmer about being the savior of Chelsea. Look, if I would have seen Raheem Sterling take 3 more passes instead of 3 more shots, hey man, this guy'd be like, yeah, hey, he gets assists, he gets goals, all that kind of rubbish. Hang on, Scott Kirk says Lonya Zinchenko. Okay, that is a joke. Havertz. Hang on a minute, right now on that, right? And I'm pretty sure this is the one thing me and Deji will agree on. Please, the flip-flopping on Kai Havertz this year has been because at the beginning of the season, I got told how we robbed Arsenal by giving them a dusty crap player. And rewind forward 6 months later, oh, he's King Kai now.
He's not King Kai.
Well, I don't know. Hey, bro, I've seen Arsenal fans say it.
I mean, I'm seeing Arsenal fans. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been seeing Arsenal fans shake their butt for Havertz. The truth of the matter is, when it's going well, it's going well. And at the moment, for Arsenal, everything seems to be going well for them, even for the Kai Havertz of this world. Arsenal have not had to suffer the way that we've suffered. You've talked about your injuries. We know Spurs injuries. We know Newcastle. We know Liverpool. You know, the big guns all had major injuries this season. Arsenal really only had Partey and Timber out. All the others were not first team players, or they were out for 1 or 2 weeks. No long-term ones apart from Partey and Timber. And so for me, Arsenal are benefiting from that. Also, they are on the up. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the rhythm, they've not had too many breakages, and it's easy to score in that bloody team. So Havertz's hair is looking like Arteta's done something special. He's done nothing, mate. He's the same player, just in a better squad.
Well, this is what I said, because one thing about over the weekend, again, with our mate Tony C, he goes to me, Wolfie, don't you miss Kai Havertz now? I looked at him and I was just like, bro, we've got a guy that is double his output right now in the same position, and you're asking me if we miss a guy because he scored 2 more goals for you than what we might have done for us. And it's just like, mate, that makes sense.
Yeah, calm down. Calm down.
It's like, how can, and this is what makes me laugh about the hype Kai Havertz. I don't mind Kai Havertz. Like, I don't hate the guy. I don't actively hate him. I'm pretty sure you look at one of your like Rich Arlison, for example. He can play better, but you don't actively hate him, do you? It's just that you wish you could do more in the squad. And it's one of those ones when you look back on it, it's just like, I've now got a guy that puts out, who's second behind Haaland in the Premier League goal scoring charts. Kai Havertz is number 12. And then you look at me and tell me that I should miss the guy who's 12th.
It's rubbish.
It's just like, what? Come again?
But also, could Arsenal just be having an exceptional season by their standards? Can Havertz next season produce the same goods? That would be the yardstick.
Well, it's funny because, like you said, it's been part circumstance. Now, Liverpool, I think that's their own story, really, and Manchester United. But you just mentioned you've had major injuries long term. We've had major injuries long term. Newcastle have had injuries and suspensions to boot. To be honest, you would hope. I'm not gonna. I don't know. With our board, it's weird. We need a striker. We need another defender. But it's one of those ones where if a lot of teams can get their signings right, we need about 3-4 players. I think you guys need about 3-4 players.
Yeah, 100%.
And like other teams are going to be a lot stronger because one thing about it, the foundations are there for a lot of these teams. Big up Mama Flossie, by the way. Big up Mama Flossie.
Poch's first season. And I say,
Poch's first season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Poch, that's what I've said. You know, any manager who's in their first season is a test and learn season. It has to be. How else? He's having to work with a squad that isn't fully his. He's having to learn what he's got in terms of the mentality of the players, working out the system, whilst trying to get results, whilst trying to bring in over several transfer windows the actual players that he believes will take your club to the promised land. So Poch, given the circumstances, can only do what he can do. I think the reason why people banter Chelsea is because we all believe that if you spend
no. Basically, we are a threat to everybody on our day. That's why everyone's enjoying we're in the dirt because they know we won't be there for too much more longer. Okay, and yet, believe it or not, even the proof's in the pudding. Regardless of how bad we were last season, we actually have been better this. We've been in the semi-final of the FA Cup, the final of the Carling Cup. And if it wasn't for the fact we only relied on 3 midfielders for the whole season, and literally 3 midfielders being Concedo, Enzo, and Moi. Well, Mo. It's one of those ones. It's been so frustrating because, like you said about the billions worth of talent. How is it we've spent $1 billion worth on talent and we've still only got 3 flipping midfielders?
It's mad.
Chuameka, non-existent. Uchewaka, whatever that guy was, that French boy, forget him, non-existent. You know, Palmer's the only other midfielder, and he goes up with the up in the front 3 sometimes. So, yeah, I hear you. Like in terms of, and I do think I agree with you, right? I think you guys look a different team with Sarr in your lineup.
We do, man. We are a different team. But what people need to understand is when you're playing in the best team in the world, and playing in the best league in the world, it takes time to cook. You're not going to put rice in a plate. And then, boil the water for 2 minutes and think it's done. You're going to let it cook for at least 20 minutes before you serve. And I think that's where we are. We're still in the early stages. We've just put the rice in the water and we just got to let it cook for 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Before we serve.
Well, the thing is, everyone always says second season, isn't it? That's what they always say, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and if that is the case, then how can both our clubs be bantered? The only thing I will say is that given your status, given who you are, and given the fact that you guys are known for bringing in managers from even Avram Grant, mate, came in and did an all right job. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? Villas-Boas did a great job at your gaff. Man,
in the Champions League, he was suspect, bro. He was
Bro, but at least he was in the Champions League and you guys were top 4. Do you know what I mean? This is what I'm saying.
Oh no, that year we weren't top 4. Remember, because if you remember, because we won the Champions League final. You guys got dropped out of the Champions League, and we got put in it. Remember, because we won it. We were 5th, and you were 4th. Remember?
Yes. Yeah.
That's not a dig. That's just what.
No, that's what happened. No, you're right. You're right. Thanks for the reminder. But generally speaking, what I guess the point I'm trying to say is, under new management, this is probably the worst you guys have performed.
Well, the thing is, it's not just new management, because you know what I like about us, Deji, and I think it's funny, right? Whenever there's a team in trouble, and it's kind of cute in a way, Chelsea always that team that get caught.
Yeah.
Not you fucking Chelsea boys again. Is that we're in front of the teacher again. You know what I mean? Like, what have you done now, Chelsea? You know what I mean? It's kind of cute in a way, because we always get caught. We get transfer bans, like whatever else, and they're talking about maybe another transfer ban and another suspension and all this kind of crap now as well. But I do think it's one of those ones where, yes, and I want your opinion on this. I do think Poch has improved certain things in terms of, maybe, I don't know, I can't say he's coached it, but he's kept the players happy somehow. At Chelsea.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
The thing is, Poch is a good manager, and let's not be disingenuous. You can see that he's working your team, and the evidence is in the amount of chances you're creating. If you weren't creating chances, then we would be worried. I'd be like, bloody hell, this is a disaster. But I don't think Chelsea fans can even say they want Poch out, because you can see his work. What's been happening is you just ain't been finishing off your dinner.
Yeah,
and you said something about Sterling. Strangely, these are Premier League players, and their decision-making has been pretty woeful. They're shooting when they should pass. They're passing when they should
shoot.
And it's the classic case. And I don't know why that is. And Pochettino, even himself, you can see him on the side going, what the hell is this rubbish? What is going on here? And that's probably why. So the players are there, but you're not finishing off your dinner. Does that mean
we have to be for both of us, isn't it? Because there isn't a lot of gap between us now and what they want. Because one thing about it is, somehow, some way, we're actually slithering up the table somehow. It's just like, and if we win our games in hand, we can leapfrog. Well, definitely leapfrog West Ham, maybe get into 6th or 7th. But yeah. For me, like, don't get me wrong, yeah. And you said about the pot analogy, just giving the pot time. But sometimes, bro, you look at it and it's like, it's really frustrating, because it's the little things that, like, because this is one thing I will say, Ange Postecoglou and Poch have in common. They try and make us, at the moment, second half teams. And you said it a minute ago. They have to react instead of act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's because that's not their squad. And that's because they don't have all the personnel that they need to.
Well, we have a very young squad, and I think, yeah, you're still trying to transition from the Conte / Mourinho squad. I get that, and I do think one thing about Poch is, like, he was never really his team anyway, because he was the team was put together and then he was hired. For me, that's always a problem, because obviously when he first came in, all right, I set up a system where Nkuku's in the middle, Jackson's on the left. Oh, and guess what? Now that I've decided to develop this system, we know I never play Nkuku again as a first teamer, because he never starts. So it's just, I do think you're right. It's one of those ones where it's a bit of a jigsaw for both, and it takes a bit more time. Now, you're right. We're a bit more muddied because of the stature of who we are. But unfortunately, that's the British government for you. And there's not many teams in the Premier League that say they had the British government breathing down their necks. But yeah,
literally, the British government literally removed your gaffer from being in charge and forced him to sell. But in forcing the sell, you would argue that Tom Bowley probably would have is spending more money than Abramovich. I know Abramovich was a madman in terms of his spending. Bowley's a bit more of a madman in terms of, he literally opened up the treasure chest.
True, but he had to I think what it is, Deji, the way, because obviously a lot of people say you spent £1 billion on your team. That's not true, because at least 3 of the players we bought, Casady, Santos, a couple of the others, they've all been loaned out. I think what they've done was when getting rid of the Mounts, the Cesar Aspilicueta, because there's certain players that we got rid of that we could arguably kept. Aspilicueta being one of them.
Yeah.
If Aspilicueta is still at Chelsea, there's no way like Gilchrist starts against Arsenal. We get pound 5 because that's where they came down our left side. It's Gilchrist, bro. What do you expect? But you know what I mean. I'm not going to dress it up. I don't even know why he dropped Thiago Silva and Chalobah for that game because it was just like they were our defense at that point. And it's just like I kind of do think that Poch through that game a little bit against Arsenal, but you're right. It's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. You're swapping bits around. You're trying to make certain things work. But yeah, I do want to see from both. Maybe there's a bit more adaptability in the first half. Start the first half how you would start the second half, and you'll win the game.
Yeah. Can I pick up on this question from the disabled team? He's talked about, I think there's a genuine fan problem with patience in all clubs. Oh, yeah, the answer is yeah. The answer is yes. I mean, the way some of the fans are talking, even some of the Spurs fans, they're talking like they want to be seeing Tottenham Champions League football or even going for the title. No, I've talked a lot because from what I see, certain moves, certain decisions, I think had gone Tottenham's way. Look, Tottenham could be up there and not be too far off the top spot in terms of challenging for the league. So I can see from a fan perspective that maybe we could be a lot higher. We could have done a lot better, even though we're having a good season. Even though it's Postecoglou's first season, there was still enough there that even us with our naked eye, certain tweaks, even like our lineup on the weekend, and that is the difference between winning and losing and having 3 more points on the board. I get that and I see that, but we've also got to allow time that these managers have a style of play, they have a process, and they all say before we get to you having enjoyment, there will be a lot of pain on the way. And I think the issue is when they say there's going to be a lot of enjoyment, people forget about the pain bit. Do you know what I mean? Myself included. They've all warned us. Do you know what I'm saying? There's going to be pain before the enjoyment comes in. Pochettino's very much of that ilk. He'll tell you, look, we're going to go.
He has. He said many a time it takes time. That's the one thing. It does take time.
So let them cook. If after we've given them a fair amount of time, I mean, I was on the show with Lee Gunner, who's a madman, to be honest with you. I think he's a complete madman because what he said, I said, you managers need time to cook. Need time to embed their philosophy, their style of play, their system.
And where did you talk to Lee? I didn't see that on his channel or yours.
That was on with Northside. That was 2 days ago. It was me versus him and Northside. It was actually.
I need to have a see that. What was that Northside's channel? Yeah, I need to check that out.
It was an absolute barbaric fight between the 3 of us, where it was 2 hours as well. It was mad. I was worn out from it. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm Northside as well. I just think Lee.
But,
I like Lee, but sometimes he's a bit over the top.
It was crazy. But what I will say is he said that if you're a decent manager, you should be able to win in your first season. And I just thought that's a little bit unfair. I just think, I hear what you're saying. He was talking about Arsene Wenger and he was talking about managers in the Liga and, you know, if they're really who they say they are, they can win straight away. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I just think, and even if you don't win the league straight away, is it a bad thing? I think the main thing is we got to see progress. Do you know what I mean? We just got to see progress.
True. What Lee Gunner is the GOAT. Salute? You mean salute? Yeah, no worries. No, Lee's cool, man. He's a funny guy, man.
No, pick up to Lee. He's good peoples. We had a good convo before the stream, during the stream, and after the stream.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man.
People, but definitely, you know.
You know what? He's the Arsenal equivalent of you. So many people just talk shit to him. You know what I mean? Like he's almost naturally defensive, but I can sort of understand it. Like because one thing I will say, I rate you and him for doing right. I would never do it myself. Is going on the football terrace, and you know why? Yeah, because it's just. Yeah. And it's just, you know what? Yeah, half the things people say in the chat and stuff like that. I'm 40 years old, right? Back in the day, you only used to say these kind of things if you want to get punched in the face. So it's just like.
Well, there was a moment on that stream with Lee where I literally just called out whoever it was in the chat, and I was like, bro, if you're really about this, get on and let's rock. Because I think sometimes people
someone was going that far with you in the chat, no?
Bro, it was ridiculous. It got out of hand. It was outrageous. But I think they think just because we enjoy talking about our clubs that we're mugs. Don't get it twisted. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? We're not mugs, but also we do love chatting about our clubs. And I don't mind a bit of banter. I don't mind people giving it, and I'll give it back. But when you start,
but there's levels, man. There's level. I've seen some what people have said to you, and Tony Claude as well when he went on there, and Lee.
Yeah. It's just like, come on.
Calm it down, come on. And this is the one thing I will say I'm not digging Terry out because he's from the same bits I am. He used to work in Lee Bridge Road. He said that, so he's from the same era I am. I'm always anyone from the bits. You're always happy to see doing all right, but it's one of those ones where you don't have to lynch people in the process, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it happens to you. Some of the Chelsea boys I've seen they go on there as well. They get it. What's the brother? They're always there every stream at Chelsea. Don, bro.
Yeah,
he gets it. Sometimes the Premier League is a different animal. Says Stuart from the likes of La Liga.
That's what he said. So Lee was saying that he thinks La Liga is better than the Prem, and I said impossible. It's no way the Prem is the best league in the world.
In terms of the European Cup, the Premier League's not the best league in the world. But the thing is, in terms of money, views, commercialization.
Why aren't we winning? But why aren't we winning more European Cups?
Right. The reason why we're not winning more European Cups, Deji, is because if you actually look at how English teams play, right, they focus on playing arguably more quickly with less quality.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because when you look at a lot of teams in England, right, they like to jump on bandwagons, right? In terms of they like to copy a lot. And the sense of, like, for example, since Pep came to England, he won. Everyone wants to play out from the back. Why does everyone want to play in the back? Half the teams in the league aren't good enough to do it. Let's be real. They haven't got the footballers. They haven't got the players that are comfortable enough under pressure. They don't have, like you were saying a minute ago about certain mans can't take on other guys one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many. Why would you play such a high-level system? Or, like, because I'm not being funny. Let's be honest, right? When in its like Pep system at its peak, it is arguably with one of the greatest Barcelona teams of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why are Bournemouth trying to play like Barcelona?
I get that.
You know what I mean? It's so sickening.
But also, when you think in Spain, and the point I was making to him was Real Madrid's only big games are against, with respect, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. So they can afford to take their foot off the gas against Osasuna or a Cadiz or a Real Betis.
Cadiz, by the way, not Cadiz. Cadiz.
At least you know what I mean. Obviously,
I've watched Spanish, Italian, Portuguese football for years.
But when you've just played Real Madrid and you've got Spurs on the weekend, or you've got then Chelsea on midweek, and then you've got to go and play Bayern Munich. I mean, it does take its strain on the body, mate. Do you know what I mean? And so, therefore, the players run out of steam. They don't have the legs for it because they don't have any break. And break being that the quality of the opposition is lighter.
The one thing that's uniquely different to the Premier League compared to all other leagues across Europe, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, and this is on Stuart's point down here, right? When you look at all the other leagues in the world, Deji's right. They do have a winter break, or at least they used to have a winter break, where like teams like in Spain, Germany, Italy, they would take a couple of weeks in between Christmas, and obviously they would get a time off. The only problem is when you look at England, England is one of the few leagues in the world that naturally play 4 competitions because you've got the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Champions League, if you're like really high flying, and the Premier League, where most countries have just their normal domestic cup, European responsibilities if they have them, and their league. So, and I'm afraid that just comes down to like making that because
it's about the money, but we can't. But it is a factor. Of course, and I think if that wasn't the case, we would be seeing more English teams winning in Europe.
Like you just said, that maybe the high flux of games is the reason why City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, like Tottenham. That's why we get so many injuries. Do you understand?
But let's be real. This season, I expected Arsenal. Bayern Munich should not be beating Arsenal.
Why not?
Because they're dusty. They've been dusty in their league.
Well, tactically, they've got a manager that's a lot more adept.
That Arsenal team is better than that Bayern Munich team. In fact, the only team I said that could stop Arsenal or City this year was Real Madrid. And we had the bloody final in the quarterfinals, because really and truly, had Man City not played Real Madrid, they would still be in the competition. That's how strong the Prem is. We're expecting. I mean, it's been a debacle from Liverpool. I think they threw the Europa League, because I can't understand how they got slapped up the way they got slapped up.
Well,
and we're expecting Aston Villa to win the Europa Conference League. It should have been a clean sweep across the board.
But the thing is, that was the thing, innit? In 1 week, 4 teams got dumped out of Europe like that.
Mate. But, I'm hearing that, bloody Bournemouth get more money than some of the top teams in Spain.
That's true. But let me tell you a little secret. When I was watching Spain week in, week out, right, particularly like 2000 times, even when it comes down to the TV money rights and stuff like that, 50% of the TV money used to go to Barcelona and Real Madrid individually, like in terms of, so they got 25% each, where the other 50% was spread between the 18 other teams. It's peak over there. Okay, I'm not going to get into this, but one supposedly supported by a royal family, Catalan. Another one supposedly financed by the government at times.
Madrid.
So yeah, man. I don't know how Barcelona haven't got done for FFP, bro.
It's mad.
You know what I mean? It's crazy, because they've been millions and millions and millions of debt for years.
Yeah.
Years. And somehow, some way, we're still squeaky clean because we're Barcelona. No, you're not. It's peak. It's peak. But yeah, Mama Flossie says, what do you think about games from the Prem being going to America? Money.
It's just money, man. It's just money.
Why would they even do that? That makes no sense.
The thing is, how they see it is, they don't give a damn about football's gone from being your local club to a global thing. And I think even doing streams, I'm speaking to people in Australia, I'm speaking to people all over the world, and it's lovely to be speaking from all over the world. It's a pleasure. But what comes with that is more money. If you can get the American market is the biggest market in sport. I mean, the NFL, they only bloody play 12 games, and the amount of money that's involved in that is absolutely crazy. So if you can tap that market, you're almost doubling your income, quite literally. And what we've found is that the Americans are not really getting the other way around. So we, as you know, the Tottenham Stadium, we host a couple NFL matches. Do you know what I mean? It's sold out. And that's America's attempt to break the UK market. But it just ain't got the same pool. Do you know what I mean? It just hasn't got the pool as soccer. And so it's about the money, man. And
that's what Mama Flossie just said. Enco in that sense. It just always comes down to the Chenga. It's a shame. To be honest, I can see in 5 or 7 years ideas from All-Star games and All-Star weeks. Well, they tried to do that anyway with the Super League, didn't they? But the joke thing is, as much as people said they dodged the Super League, if you actually look how the Champions League's being rule formatted for next season, where it's going into league form and they put 12 extra teams, they've already done it anyway, right under your nose.
Yeah, I think it's a dusty system. One of the systems that I find, I mean, look, there's pros and cons. In America, you're more likely to see other teams win because of the draft system, and I think there's some mileage in that. But then there's no relegation. You know what I mean? So you can have a season and still be in the Prem, which I think is total rubbish as well.
Yeah, the thing is, that's how they do it. We do a league where it's just graded literally as a rank system. They do it regional, don't they? So, like you said. You know what I mean? Whoever top 3 teams for whatever region will go off to the, I don't know, what do they call it? The All-Stars event or whatever the bloody called, like basketball and all that kind of thing. Yeah. Deji, how are you feeling about pre-season in Australia?
Yeah, I think, again, it's mad because, just be clear here as well. And, again, look, I don't want to rob the Australian Spurs fans of their love of our club in Tottenham Hotspur. But we have a bloody 10-year season ticket waiting list. It's so hard to get a ticket at Spurs these days. Not enough. If every fan had the opportunity to watch at least one game here, I'd be like, by all means, crack on and go around the world, knock yourself out. But to go over to Australia for one game when people on the ground here can't even get a game does seem a little bit mad. But the other thing is more worryingly with these sorts of things, it's about the money. I'm just thinking about the welfare of the players. Spurs are flying off to Australia literally the week after the Premier League season is done. That is complete madness. You know, and I know that in the last week of term at school, you are winding down. These players are winding down, and you're going to force them when their body's switched off. Because even if you mentally are prepared, physically the body is saying, "Look, we're done now. We're going on a break." You're just exposing these guys to an unnecessary injury and also flying that length. I just think player welfare above money. When are we going to do it? They do it in construction. They call it zero harm. Yeah, in construction industry. Yeah, no one should lose a life, and they shouldn't have any injuries. And I think we need something similar in football, where player welfare above money.
Well, don't forget about the extra internationals they're going to be putting on as well for that exact same with all that the thingy league, was it UEFA conference or whatever it was. It's mad, absolutely crazy. So just quickly, we'll round it off because we've been having I've had nearly an hour of Deji's time or more than that. I'm just going to quickly ask him. So, what's your prediction for the scoreline tomorrow?
Look, first of all, let me just qualify this quickly, contextualize. I called it. I said Chelsea roll over, pull their pants down, and allow Arsenal to slap their bum. But when it's Spurs, they tend to turn up. On that basis, I'm expecting a Chelsea win. I think Chelsea.
Oh, really? Why, do you think you'd just be too open again, or what?
No, it's not about being open. For whatever reason, and this is where we have beef, Wolfie. You know, I love you as an individual, but this is where I've got beef with your club. I would just like Chelsea to come against other London teams with the same energy they come against Tottenham. We have the same problem with West Ham. West Ham, they will turn up against Spurs.
And us as well. They beat us as well last time.
Do you know what I mean? So the energy that you're going to play Spurs tomorrow, you're going to be like, what? Where was this against Arsenal last week? And that is the problem. That is the problem.
Well, you're lucky enough to get Gilchrist at right back like how Arsenal did last week. Yeah.
I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea. I think Chelsea win because it's just typical. Chelsea will roll over for Arsenal, but then they'll slap up Spurs.
Well, I'm not being funny. Notoriously, we've always had good results against you anyway. Over the longevity as well, because I know you've had the same 3-point lane. That was long thrown out, by the way. That's something from the 90s, like early 2000s. But normally we turn up against you, and I agree with you, by the way, with the West Ham thing. More recently, over the last couple of years, you and us, whenever we play West Ham, even Arsenal as well, to a degree, they just go. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's a London derby thing. Because if you remember, like even earlier in the season, didn't West Ham beat Arsenal 3-2 or 3-1?
Yeah, they did
at the London Stadium. So it was one of those ones where, it's that London derby thing. Do you reckon?
Maybe, but I don't think it's even London derby. Since the Battle of the Bridge, where Chelsea were like, when you were not involved, by the way, in winning the league, but you guys were determined. You had Eden Hazard saying, I'm going to do everything within my power to stop Spurs from winning the league. When you've got players feeling that level of animosity towards an opponent, then you know there's something deeper going on. And from then, everyone's carried that spirit from Eden Hazard. If anything, let's make sure we stop Spurs. And I think we see it with the fan base. You guys do not give a shit that you've had a poor season, provided you beat Spurs tomorrow night.
Well, to be honest, in the league, I'll be real with you. Right? We have had anything other than challenge for first for me is a shit season. That's the standard. That
I do think Chelsea fans would like the fact that, despite the fact that your season's been rubbish, if you take 6 points off Spurs, that just makes your season just feel a little bit better.
I'll tell you what. It does make, but that's because the rivalry's there. I'm not being funny. You're a London lad. I'm a London lad. Let's boil down to it. In the game, it's not personal, but we proper like in the gate. We'll be proper like don't like each other, innit? It's like we have to beat these. Even with Arsenal, it's the same thing. We have to beat these guys. Yeah, like you said against West Ham and us more recently with Arteta as manager of Arsenal. That's pretty much since our Conte left because we've had so many flip and flops. Maybe Tuchel was probably the best against Arsenal because I think he drew a couple of times more than Luke. But other than that, it's the Potters, it's the Lampards, you know, like the Potches. So it's one of those ones where I do hear you, but I think West Ham generally give all the other London teams more shit than everybody else. I think. But, but
you give Tottenham shit. That's the truth.
I think I'd like to agree with you that we might scrape it 3-2. But I do think because if you're attacking threat, right, we're going to leak goals at some point. Big up, guys, on your stream and working in my field today on my tractor, sweating me balls off. Anthony, big up, sir.
Big up, Anthony.
He was lost in the dark the other day. But yeah, that Joker, he's a proper joke. I love that dude. Big up, Anthony says, Mama Flossie. Deji, brother, big up your channel, bro. I thank you for your time. It's been an absolute privilege having you here. It's been a calm, nice stream as well. See what happens when you give this brother a chance to talk.
Thank you. The fact everyone else just wants to go. They just want to go at me. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think the only thing that was said to you about Deji likes bums, and I'm not being funny. If you're a real hood man like us anyway, in terms of you grew up in London, you like bum. You like a big bum. You like a shapely bum. You know, it's just. It's nothing. There's nothing bad. It's just what we've raised around, you know. You know what I mean? It's true, especially if you. One thing about I know Deji's got the Caribbean in him as well, and I'm not being funny. I've had a lot. I've been lucky enough. I was raised with a Jamaican family next door. My auntie was Jamaican. It's one of those ones where I know that you gotta have some back off, as they say there. You know what I mean? You gotta have a bit of back.
You don't know.
If you know, you know, and I know this brother knows, so that's all I need to say. Oh, there you go.
From the same neck of the woods. Big up the disabled team. Big up to you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Stu. What a G, what a gentleman. Like, please, if you can, drop him a like and a sub. As I said, he's cool with me. like I've never had a problem with it. Says DJ Craig.
4-0 proper Chelsea. Come on.
Proper Chelsea. Come on. No. Don't listen to this guy. You know what I hate about this season the most, Deji? When we've been playing against another big team, and all the other supporters were like Man United, Arsenal. Today I'm a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
Nah. I'll tell you what, you'll never hear me say today I'm an Arsenal fan, or today I'm this, or today. Never that. Never. Too much.
People keep saying, "Oh, do you want Man City? Are we gonna lose to Man City to stop Arsenal from winning the league?" Part of me is like, I just don't actually really care now. You know what I mean? I really don't care. But if we're gonna lose to Man City, then we might as well do it properly and allow Man City to put double figures past Spurs. That's it. That's what I'm saying.
And on that shameless note, now joking. When I say on that shameless note, you know what I mean? Like, wow, I can't believe you just said that, bro. Like, thing is, I know it. You don't mean that. If you saw City put double figures past Spurs,
you know why? I think
the first one screwing, bro.
I said if we're gonna lose, we might as well lose properly because I think the goal difference between City and Arsenal is 7.
Yeah, it's immense at the moment.
Yeah. If we're gonna do it properly.
All right. If you're gonna throw it properly. 15-0.
Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, it doesn't make no difference to us.
I know for a fact Deji's talking pants. He would never want to see Spurs, even to spite Arsenal. He would never want to see Spurs. No one in the right mind would. That's banter, bro. Don't even laugh. That's banter.
No, real talk. I don't really.
I hear you. For us in the league and you guys in the league, it's kind of like it's all based in game in hand and difference this and different that, and it's kind of fizzled out a little bit. It's kind of like, just bring on next season. Give me 4 or 5 bad men, and let's see what's there next season.
That's it. That's where my head is.
Same thing with us, bro. We've already flopped like 1 semi-final and a cup final. Like we've had enough. It's just like because even for us, we've got 4 games left. We've got 2 at home, 2 away. We've got 2 London derbies back to back, meaning you guys and West Ham at the Bridge back to back. So if we can win them and just get 6 or 7 more points on the board, just try and just don't end up in 10th again. Just
If you end up in 10th, though, it's a disaster. I can't lie.
Bro, it's a disaster as it is. It's just less of, you know. Watched Deji a few times, and he takes a lot, so he's entitled to give it to. That's very true. And but the thing is, on my channel, I've always been it's conversation before cussing, because at the end of the day, long story short, that's the one. Like I just said, mentioned a little while ago on certain other streams, like he does take a lot of bullshit. He really does. So like, and the aforementioned Lee Gunner as well. Sometimes North Sides as well, because I've seen North Side get it as well. Like because they're like popular and expressions as well. Big up another Spurs like content creator. People just take shots at them, like they forget it's a joke, it's a bit of banter. We're just here to have a laugh. It's all fun at the end of the day. I don't think Deji went when he first started up. I'm gonna get 1,000 subscribers. I think he just said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do my thing, see what happens." Like the rest of us do.
Oh, you know, I put it off for about a year. People kept saying maybe you should do your own thing, and that wasn't my intention. So I do see a lot of comments in the chat.
Well, you've blown up, and particularly over the last 6 months, because I remember when you were on like 700, like because literally you got like over the last 5 or 6 months, you've got like 200 or 300 subscribers. I think you've really like. Yeah. So you know, like big, and I have to say, big up to him as a guy. Like the man just said, we're from like almost the same bits of London. I'm always happy to see my brothers doing well. I don't give a shit if we see sports. We're both men at the end of the day, and you've always got to be happy that your brothers are doing well, man.
No, 100%, and that's what it's about. We show love to each other. We can all grow. We can all eat, and you know, and yeah, man. Look, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity, and you know, we'll just see what happens. Do you know what I mean?
I know. And on that note, on that pleasant note, let's call it a quit there. Thank you, Deji, for your time. As I said. Please, if you can, drop him a like. Big up to everyone that's been in the chat today. It's been a nice little busy stream, but it's been a calm one. We've had some good discussions. Thank you, everyone, for taking part. Stuart, the table team, you know, DJ Crane. It's a shame I didn't see more of the Arsenal lot. I expected to maybe see here today when he assembled them lot. Big up Zigga, sorry, the Chelsea fan. Big up you, bro. I hope everyone's well. Have a good afternoon, all, says Mama Flossie. Thank you to the Queen below. And we are out here, people. Stay safe. Bless up.